Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Steven Sim. Can you hear me? Adjust your volume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so what are we doing tonight? Oh, yeah, maths. No, English. Okay, so last minute clinic for paper one for the O level. So are you ready? So what do you need with you? Well, you need a pen to take notes. And if you're part of our Telegram channel, or if you registered for this, my colleague would have sent you a quick reference sheet, right? So if you have printed it out, there'll be space on it for you to take notes. Okay. And then if you don't have it, or if you have it online, which is also fine. So you find some place to take notes and to think and relax. So body is relaxed, but mind is focused. Okay. Okay, so we have until 9 o'clock. So how to squeeze 4 years worth of English into 1.5 hours. So obviously what we're going to do is we're looking for the high impact, low effort changes. So the easy things that can make a big difference. Okay, so I'm not going to cover every single thing. I'm not going to cover some of the more difficult things. I'm going to cover some of the easier things that will make a big difference to your marks. I can't transform your writing overnight, but we can give you certain strategies that will add 5 to 10 marks to your paper. Okay. And you're here and you put aside this time, which is very precious because you're right in the middle of your revision period, because you want to improve, and that's already half the battle. So your commitment is there. So now all you need to do is to sit back, relax your body, but focus your mind. If you have questions, please don't spam. If you spam, I promise to ignore you. uh, but what I'd like you to do now is type in the chat. So which aspect of this paper one are you more concerned about? Situational writing or essay writing? Can you type into the chat and let me have an idea? And what are the kind of marks you're getting currently upon 30? Essay, both, essays, 17 upon 30, 15 upon 30, situational because of the format, 19. Oh, hello, Aris and Brian, and we've met before. Okay. Situational writing 22, essay 23, 43. Huh. Okay, both. Okay, that gives me a good idea. Okay, so some of you are thinking about how to break through from the 21 to 22 range, while some of you are thinking about how to boost yourself from C6 to a B3, right? Okay, let's take a... Okay, let me share with you what I have on screen. What do I have here? Yeah. Just my screen slightly. Okay, so we start with situational writing. Okay. Situational writing, we'll deal with the easiest things, okay? So the number one killer mistake, the easiest thing that you can do to boost your score is to make sure that you personalize. So personalize, meaning that you make it sound as if you're really writing to whoever it is. It might be your vice principal, it might be your cousin, it might be your uncle, it might be a speech to your CCA members, it might be a speech to parents and PSLE students who have come for an open house. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that it sounds real. Because if it sounds, when I read, and I've read many students' pieces of writing, if I read your text and it sounds as if there's low effort, and this is what we call low effort writing. And sometimes it's low effort writing because we don't know how to express it. And then sometimes we end up falling into this habit. So you need to just break up the habit and suddenly wake up and see that, okay, I'm not supposed to just copy. Okay. Uh, so if you do this ever since you were very young, you were very fascinated. So this kind of thing it's low effort writing. Do you know what I mean? You're just stringing together the words in order to uh, form a simple grammatical sentence out of all the bulleted points which they gave to you. So that's low effort writing, and low effort writing gets low marks. Fair enough, right? So how to get the higher marks for this? Well, if you look at this version, because you compare, right? The reason why I suggest this is because, so this is taken straight out from the question, right? The question says, give a reason for your suggestion. So you read that and then you automatically just did a simple conversion and said, the reason why I suggest this is because, okay, so this is very mechanical. And if you do this kind of mechanical, uh, low effort writing, you find that your marks will also be quite low. Can't be helped. So my suggestion to you is to imagine that it is real. So you need to throw away this old habit, all the way from primary six, when all you did was just look at the bulleted points and then copy certain bulleted points and add it together. Do you understand? So don't do that. You must pretend that you are really writing to your cousin, even if you've never done it before. You must imagine that you're really writing to your vice principal, even if you've never done that before in your life. But this is the one time when you imagine that it is real. So, what is it that the other person would need to know? What is it that the other person would want to hear? And if the other person is a real person, would you have shared memories? Remember how we used to do this? You will love doing this. Instead, you love this. You used to love this. You. So it doesn't sound as if you're actually writing to a real person. It sounds as if you just took certain phrases and then you converted it. You know what I mean? Because, when you were younger in Sec 1 or Sec 2, you did that, right? Straight out from primary school, all you did was conversion. So what you want to do is you don't want to do this kind of straightforward conversion. Okay, so what you can do is to do something like this. Remember how we used to do this? So this little detail, which is part of the bulleted point. So if they give you 3 bulleted points or 4 bulleted points, don't add in a new 5th bulleted point. Do you understand? But you can work on that 4th or that 3rd bulleted point and add in something which is relevant inside of it. So remember that situational writing is not creative writing. This is important because sometimes students add in a lot of things. They will say, they were asked to write about a visit to Universal Studios for your cousin, and then you talk about, oh, yeah, your mother had an operation, and then I visited her. I hope that she has recovered. But anyway, we will push a wheelchair around. Don't do that, okay? It's not creative writing. Situational writing is when they say, I gave you this text, okay? So, and this text might be an article, this text might be a speech, this text might be from a web page, it might be a brochure, it might be any kind of text, might be an advertisement, right? And what they want to see you do is they want to see you do some adjustment. They want to see you do some kind of adaptation. So you adapt and you adjust. And then what you do is you create your own text, except that this text is like this, is TXT like that, you see? So you have adjusted it. And so why did I adjust it this way? Oh, I adjusted it this way because the audience is different. The person whom you're writing to is different. The purpose is different. The context is different. So it needs to be adjusted. Do you understand? So do you need to add in details? Yes, because if you don't add in details, I am not persuaded, you know. So for example, if you look at this version, okay, so that's a good question. It says, okay, so this is very common, and many more. This is the equivalent of the Chinese 等等. This is 等等, that 等等, everything 等等. Why do you add 等等? Oh, because I want to hit the word limit. I just add in two extra words here. I add in two extra words there. Oh, I've written four words. Don't do that. It's a giveaway. It's a giveaway that uh, you don't know what to say, and so you end up using these words. Okay, so don't do this, etc., and many more and things like. Be specific. So exactly what is it that we are looking at? Well, we could write on the Transformers 3D attraction. There's also a Jurassic Park themed cafe. So specifically, so the details make it real. Okay, so the details will make it real. So thank you for telling me about your desire to learn about different things. So we're talking about situational writing now, and then later on I will move on to essay writing. Okay, so starting with situational writing first. This is not the handout that is given. The handout that is given to you is a quick reference sheet. So that's what you look at just before you go into the exam, or on the morning of the exam, you review. Okay. So this one, you just need to have the idea. And the idea is that you must personalize it. So personalize it, adjust, and adapt. Now, if they give you the 4 bulleted points, then you need to plan for each bullet. And each bullet needs to be expanded, not copied. So the low effort writing is when, let's say they give you bulleted points, right? And it says A, B, C, D, E, F, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. So low effort writing looks like this. What happens is that, okay, I take this, and then you go something like, uh, I definitely think that you will enjoy this, or our classmates will enjoy this, or all the students will enjoy this. And then you go because D, E, F, and then what you do is you just like that. Okay, then you put a full stop, and then you say, this will certainly benefit us. Okay, so this is low effort writing. You will pass. You will pass. But you're not going to get high marks because what did you actually do? You wrote something like this, which doesn't show me. This is telling me. This is telling, you're not showing. And if you just say certainly, again, you're boosting it, but how do I know? What did you do? So you don't want to write like this. What you want to do, you don't want to write like this. What you want to do instead is, okay, you take something like this, and then you write something, and then you say, hey, you know what, D. Then you write something, and then you say, hey, you know what, E. And then you write something, and you know, hey, you know what, F. Like that. So you take that bulleted point and then you expand it, not add a generic phrase on top, add a generic phrase below, and then after that just copy in between. Okay, but maybe that's a passing strategy. Okay, so that is a passing strategy, and as what some of you say, that's a C6, right? But you want to move beyond it, in which means that you need to expand. So how do you expand? Okay, so what is the D, E, and F? So from the text, you have this. This is the D, E, and F. And then what is your angle? What is it that you can bring? What is it that you bring to the table? What is it that you bring and put into this piece of writing? Well, because you're pretending that you're really writing to a cousin, then you say, my cousin loves challenges. And because you're really writing to your cousin, you know that, hey, your cousin loves outdoor activities. So where's your personal touch? So your personal touch is, let's do this together. So it's not just, oh, you will enjoy this, you will enjoy this. I recommend that you take part in this, and you should go for this, and you should go for that. You're treating your cousin as a robot. So you don't want to do that. Do you understand? So you want to expand. You want to expand the details. In the same way, so some of you are saying, okay, you're consistently stuck at the 17 to 19 stage. It's like this, because if all you have been doing is you have just been copying, right? So it's open from 9 to 6 on weekends. Then you say, okay, if I think about it carefully and I imagine that I'm really going there, then I say that, hey, let's go at a time when it's less crowded on the morning. So I know it's open from morning till 6, but my suggestion is that we go at this time for this particular reason, which makes it sound real. So that thing which they give to you, not open from 9 to 6. It's not for you to copy, it's open from 9 to 6. It's for you to do something with it. It's for you to say, let's go at 3 o'clock because we can have high tea after that. So, or let's go at 3 o'clock because it's the afternoon feeding time. Let's go at 9 in the morning when it's not so warm. So you don't copy. The place is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekends. Do you understand? Because if you just do a copying like that, is where's the value? Where is the value? There's no value, right? I might as well just say, here's the link. You go and read it yourself, and then enjoy yourself. Bye bye. You're writing to your cousin, you're writing to your vice principal, then you have to do something. You have to manipulate the information which they have given to you. Do you know what I mean by manipulate? Manipulate. Manus, your hand. Manual. So you do something with it. You squeeze it, you tear it apart, you do something with the information. You don't just copy the information. Okay? And how to manipulate the info like this. You talk about your, to manipulate the information there, you talk about your knowledge of your cousin, you give a personal touch. So I expect some of you are taking screenshots, right? You should be taking screenshots. Okay, so the personal connection, because you know something about your cousin, you give specific details. So it's not just, oh, let's go to Universal Studios because Universal Studios, oh, there is a 3D Transformers ride, there's a roller coaster ride, there is a water base that you can splash through water, while underwater tunnel ride or whatever it is. So you give specific details. Okay, so you name the actual attraction, you name that actual thing. So, for example, let's say you are recommending 3 day, 2 night OBS outdoor camp. Okay, OBS outdoor, and some of you have gone for that, right? The level camp at Pulau Ubin. Okay, so then you just say, oh, I recommend that we go for the 3 day, 2 night level camp at Pulau Ubin. There they have kayaking, uh, jetty jump, and campfire. It will definitely improve team building. So you know, because they gave me campfire, and you already have prior knowledge of a campfire. So you say that we will work in groups to prepare an item for the campfire performance, right? And then the best group can be awarded a prize. And as we sit together around the campfire under the open stars, we will develop a love and understanding of each other, and this will build loyalty to our school. So that is how you expand. You give the specific details, you bring in your own imagination. You expand that, you manipulate the information given to you. The information given to you is just campfire. But with your imagination, with your prior knowledge, you expand it, and then it becomes, wow, that's attractive. I want to go for that campfire, Mr. Sim. Even though we're just talking about it online, "Hey, that's a very interesting campfire. I want to go." And that's the effect which you want to have on the examiner. It's got to be real. And in order for it to be real to the examiner, it must be real to you. To you, it must be real. So the kind of writing that you do cannot be surface level copy pasta. So it cannot be surface level just copying. It needs to be actual. It needs to be the actual thing which you can visualize and imagine in your mind, and then you write it out. And then your reader will see exactly what you mean. Okay? So, how do you know whether to write too much or too little? Well, they already gave you a word limit, and so you shouldn't take more than 40 minutes for this. So if you have 40 minutes, so imagine 40 minutes for situational writing, okay? And if you have maybe 5 to 10 minutes for planning, so how much for bulleted point one, bulleted point two, 10? So this is only maybe 8 minutes or less, 7 minutes. What's 7 times 4? 28 minutes already. And then you still need to plan. And then after that, you need to check. So one of the very important things which I discovered is that my students don't have watches. And if you don't have a watch, how do you keep track of time? You say, oh, there's a clock in front. But that's not the point. The point is you need to have this habit of being in control of your time, because the control of your time is the control of the effort that you put in at different parts of the exam. Okay. So the other thing that you can do, okay, so one very useful thing that I can give to you is to rephrase. So I give to you these three things. And based on this, you can come up with your own version. So for example, if it's something like state of the art facilities, the new school building will have state of the art facilities, or uh, this particular polytechnic which we'll be visiting will be showing off their state-of-the-art computer lab. So don't say state-of-the-art, say modern equipment. Because you understand, right? So the question I have to ask you is, do you understand? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, right? Of course, I understand. Then the next question is, if you understand, why is it that you only copied? Oh, because habit, primary six habit, primary six PSLE, just copy and then get full marks. But at the secondary school level, they don't want you to just copy. They want you to demonstrate your vocabulary. Because if you don't demonstrate your vocabulary, how do I know that you have learned something over these past 4 years? Because if you don't demonstrate your vocabulary, then I am left with all these things which you are showing to me, all these copied words. And so my judgment, to be very fair, just looking at what you hand in, is that your vocab isn't very good. Do you understand? So if you understand it, then what you do is you write it like this. If you understand experienced instructors, you say, oh, the camp will be run by experienced instructors. Then don't just say, oh, the camp will be run by experienced instructors. Say, we will have skilled trainers and expert guides like Mavis Tan here, who is here tonight to help you and train you. You see? You understand? So it's not that you don't understand. If you don't understand the word copy, okay? If you don't understand the word copy it, because if you don't understand it and you paraphrase it wrongly, then you lose marks. But if you understand it, then what you need to do is to put in the effort. And this thing is a little bit of effort. You must go click, I must do something with it instead of non-click, automatically copy. So instead of suitable for all fitness levels, you understand what that means, right? Non-click is I just copy. But actually, since I already understand it, then I say it is accessible to beginners and experts alike, or it's suitable for both experts and beginners. So let's say I don't know accessible, I only know suitable. Okay, then you get your B3. If you say I don't know how to use the word alike, I only know how to use the word both. Okay, no problem. It's still good. It's still better than a C6. You get your B3. But if you can write like this, it is accessible to beginners and experts alike, then you get your A1. Do you understand? This is not something that you can force yourself to do at this point in time. This is something which uh, should have been built up over the past 4 years. So you write in a confident way. So not everybody needs to get an A1, but everybody needs to maximize their potential. Okay, so that's what we are here to do. Say, according to your measure, according to your ability, you push yourself. And pushing yourself doesn't mean I'm going to write in some fancy way and put in impressive vocabulary. That's the wrong approach. All that you need to do is to switch on and say, okay, I understand what this word means and I explain it exactly, properly, and then your marks will already go up. Okay, can? So one guideline to help you is to think of this 3-word rule. So don't use more than 3 consecutive. Consecutive means next to each other or one after another. So don't use more than 3 words in a row. So you can use a 3-word phrase and then after it write something else. Then use another 3-word phrase and then write something else. Okay, so this is the most common thing and it's not very difficult to do. You just need to break out of that habit. I understand this, let me re-express it in my own words. So break out of that habit because that habit locks your marks. It holds you down. You want to demonstrate, you want to put in the effort, say, I can speak proper English, Okay, then prove it. I can write in proper English. Prove it. Because if you don't prove it, if you just copy, then you don't get the marks. Since you can do it, then you must do it. I'm not asking again, final reminder before we move on to the next page is I'm not asking you to write impressive words which you are not sure of, because doing that, overstretching, will cause you to get into a lot of trouble. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do you understand? So you, like, let's say if you're playing football, okay, they're playing football, and then the ball comes. Let's say, I'm going to kick it. Okay, so you kick in a way which you're very confident in, and maybe you score and maybe you don't score. Doesn't matter. You've done your best. But you say, wow, the ball is coming. I'm going to stretch my leg out and then tore my hamstring. Oh, problem. So don't do that. Do what you are capable of doing. Not, oh, the ball comes, let somebody else go and kick the ball. That's what I'm saying. It's yours. It's yours. It's there for the kicking. Just do this and then your marks go up. Okay. So, for example, I have come across many students who do something like this. What they do is they use boosters. They say things like, I strongly recommend. Okay, I know that you strongly recommend, but are you showing me? I know that this part is suitable, but are you showing me? So, show me that it is suitable. Oh, it is suitable. Why would you recommend? It has state of the art. Oh, why is state of the art facilities? Modern equipment, maintained. What is the experienced instructors who ensure safety? Say skilled guides supervising, skilled guides supervising activities. You understand? So instead of using boosters and copying, what you do is you demonstrate your understanding of what's going on. Okay? And then write in English, because that's what they want you to do. They want to see that you can write in English. And if you write in English, they'll give you marks. If you copy, they won't give you marks. So the strategy is totally different from PSLE English. Maybe the strategy is so different. It's because maybe it's our PSLE, especially our HOD of English, and so she teaches both English at primary and secondary school, right? So, maybe it's what advice did we give primary six students for situational writing?
Just refer to the visual text, and there is no need to write more than is required.
Yeah, yeah. So that's very good advice. Very good advice. You follow the advice, you score for your PSLE. And now for the O levels, you must move beyond that. Okay? Can understand, huh? It's very important. Okay. So format, how about format and structure? Okay, format and structure. So I had students who I had a student, and sometimes it might be you, I don't know. They say hello fellow students. So it's hello fellow students, right? I also had I also had students who started off by saying something like, dear reader. They say, huh, why is there dear reader? This is no, not dear reader, right? So it's dear Mr. Tan if it happens to be an email. But if you are writing, if it's a speech, then you won't be writing to share. Then you'll just be good morning, etc. Right? And at and at this at this point in time, uh, the PDF of the presentation, sure, no problem. I'll send to you after this. Okay,
Mm.
I'll
Mm.
send to you in the chat in a while
Telegram.
once I get a
We
chance.
we'll share on Telegram also.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
or we can share on Telegram also. No
Mm.
problem. Okay,
Mm.
we will share this with you. No problem. Okay, so So the format, and once I get to format, right, I know that some of you are starting to panic. I can predict what is some of you are going to think about, and you're thinking about right now is what's the format? What's the format? I'm not sure about the format. And so don't panic, okay? When it comes to formats, don't panic. We have prepared a guide for you. And even so, no need to panic. Just remember, so keep everything to the left, write in paragraphs, and then for the dear something, and then the dates and everything, either use commas or don't use commas. Okay, so to whatever. So just don't use commas. It's the simplest. Okay, just align everything to the left. Don't use commas. Okay, so what does it look like? It looks like this. So an informal email will look like this. A formal email will look like this. So this is something which you just need to sit down and memorize. You sit down and study and memorize and get it over with, because the format is the number one thing that many students get worried about, but actually it's not the main thing. Okay, the main thing is really making it sound real. So I give you the format so that you don't need to be worried about this. So it's something very basic. You sit down, you memorize it. That's all. So what's the difference between informal and the formal? Well, the main difference is that for the informal, you always establish emotional connection or reconnection, because it's your friend, it's your relative. So the first line is always, how are you? How have you been? So the first line is always that. Whereas for the formal email, there is no emotional connection. You don't write to your vice principal and say, dear Mr. Tan, how have you been lately? Mr. Tan is not your friend. Mrs. Lee is not your friend. So there is no, if you write to your member of parliament and say, dear Miss Honey So, how have you been dear lately? I have missed you very much. Do you understand? So that's the main thing. The main difference between the informal and the formal. So the informal, that very first line, you have this move, you have this particular speech act where you try to establish or re-establish that emotional connection. And after you get on with your stuff. Okay. For the formal, no, 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 no. Okay. So your school wants you to include to and from and subject. It's not difficult what, to write to, from, and subject, right? Because it depends, you see. If it's an email, there will be to, from, and subject. If it's a letter, there is no to, from, and subject. Okay, so the difference between a letter and email is, a letter is the old-fashioned version, the email is the modern version. They haven't asked students to write a letter since 8 years ago. I think they gave up on letter writing. It's as if the Cambridge has moved with them, but we don't know. We don't know. They might suddenly jump back to letter writing this year, right? They might. But they have not done that for a very long time, and it seems as if the letter is dead. Okay. So one more thing, I had this student last week, and she was supposed to write an email, and I was very upset with her. She's actually a very good student, but I know what happened was that because she was studying very hard for her Sec 3 end of year exams, right? So she was tired, and so she just had to write something. You know what she wrote? She wrote this to abc at email.com. Then I said, what is this? And then she's from student at mail.com. I said, what is this kind of low effort writing? You know, why do you have to do something like this? Why don't do this? Okay. Can you please just write a proper email and don't do funny things? I have funny things. Yours sincerely, I have people signing off like a PDD and things like that. Then don't do that. Why do you want to give the examiner impression that you're not taking this seriously? You know what I mean? You only have one chance. One chance. If you have one chance to make a good impression on somebody, then please make use of this opportunity, do it properly. You can always crack jokes with your friends, but not during the exam. The exam is a serious event. Not serious as in terrible, but serious as in you should put in your best effort. Do you know what I mean? Okay. What about a speech? Okay, last year they gave a speech.
Mm.
Last year's SW was a speech. Situational writing was a speech. So what does a speech look like or a briefing look like? Okay, so obviously there's no dear somebody, there's no date, correct? So you have to see what is not here, right? What is it that is not here? So you start off with the greeting, good morning, and then your awareness of whoever it is that is present as your live audience. Okay. And then you don't immediately start off by telling people to do various things. Okay. Good morning, principal, teachers, and fellow students. And it's very important that you must have full name. I have lots of people who say, I am John. I am John. Who John? 1,000 students in the school. You tell me that you are John. So who are you? I am John Tan, the head of the school's IT club. Oh, okay. I have some context as to who you are. And then you say, today I'm here to talk to you about blood donation. Huh? I don't want, I'm afraid, and nobody's going to listen to you anymore. So one of the techniques which good writers use is that after introducing themselves, they delay. They do not say explicitly what the talk is about. It's very different from the formal email. The formal email, because somebody is reading it, it's sent as an email, that person receives 50 emails per day. You have to ask Mavis, how many emails per day do you do you receive?
Well, 20.
20 emails. So your very first paragraph must be very clear. I said, I'm writing about this and my proposal is this. And your subject must be very clear because you know you have Miss Mavis Tan here and she's a very hardworking HOD, and but I tell you, she doesn't read all the 20 emails. She just looks at the subject line, right? Correct? You just look at the subject line and you say, this one not so important, I read later. And this one, oh, it's a application for school bursary, it's very important. Oh, it's proposal for leadership plan, it's very important, I will read now. So you must understand what is that context. Why are we teaching you to write an email? Because this is how the subject functions. If you write a very clear subject, you can get people to click. If your subject is vague and useless, too bad. And 3 days later, you say, have you read my email? I said, what email? I don't know what you're talking about. You understand? So this is the opposite from a speech because you have a captive audience. They all seated in the school hall. They can't run away. So you don't want to tell them, today I'm here to encourage all of you donate blood. All of them go, donate blood, needles, they don't want. So you start off with a story. Last week, there was this student who was in a hospital and they didn't have enough blood and she nearly lost her life. But due to the generosity and the willingness of many Singaporeans who went to the blood bank and they donated their blood, today she is alive and she is among you here today. Her name is Cecilia Tan from Secondary 3A. Cecilia, can you please stand up? Okay, thank you. Okay, so now let me tell you about the importance of blood donation. Give all the details. You understand? So you need to capture their imagination, give the details, and then at the end, you say, this is what I need you to do. Okay, since all of you are so motivated now, go to the back and sign up. Since all of you are so motivated now, okay, I need each and every one of you to make a commitment to recycle, okay, or to clear your plates or to do whatever it is. So the call to action is at the end. You cannot put the call to action at the beginning when people don't even know what you're asking for, and then immediately you say, "Oh, hey uncle, can you donate $10?" Why would I donate $10? Who are you? And yet I have many people doing that, right? You walk around in the MRT, and people coming up to you and say, please donate. And you have done that before. You have done that before. You go up to a stranger and you say, please donate. Then why should I donate? Who are you? Why are you donating? Why are you asking for money? So you need to tell that story. You say, well, at the end of telling that story, he only donated $2. Yeah, it's hard work. But maybe if you tell a really great story and you're really motivating, the person will say, I believe that what you're doing is correct. Here's $50. You understand? So the speech is there to move the person emotionally because you create that mental picture, that imagination, and then they do something. And then the sign off at the end is optional. It's just in case this piece of paper falls off somewhere, then they say, oh, so who was the one who wrote this brilliant speech? Oh, it was written by this. So your end off is you end off by saying, thank you for being such attentive listeners. That's all. Okay. So there are various techniques. I'll send this to you in a short while and then you can read it. Okay, what about an article? An article could take the form of a blog, a web page. That's one of the things which they asked students to do before. It made many students very panicky because they said, my school has never taught me how to write an article. Okay. So it could be writing an article for a blog, a newsletter, a school magazine. A blog is an old-fashioned thing. It's something which you upload to. It's like your school's web page. Think of it as something like your school's web page. Okay, so an article. So it's a kind of report about what happened. And what do you need to have? You need to have a headline, which is centralized, which is not too long, about 7 words. 8 is okay. 10 is a bit too much, about 7 words. The byline, who is it by? James Tan, full name, not James. There's so many James in the entire school. James Tan, comma, secondary 4, whatever. Okay. And don't put down achiever, okay? Because some of you don't know how to spell achiever. Just write down something like sec 4 good or something like that. Or sec 4 happy or something like that, okay? Don't write words which are optional and then you don't know how to spell it and then lose marks. Do you know what I mean? And of course, you can spell achiever, that's the best. Okay, so what about your body paragraphs? So your body paragraphs, by the second paragraph, okay? By the second paragraph, you need to have a summary of the important details. This is very important. You know why? Because nobody has time to read all the articles. So sometimes when you hear people, some adults that, oh, read newspaper is good for you. And you say, but newspaper is so boring. So what you do is you just read the title. If the title is boring, skim. Next article, title, not interesting, skim. Next title, wow, Lionel Messi is coming to Bedok. Oh, I'm interested. Let me read the article. Oh, Lionel Messi was on the 15th of December this year. Lionel Messi will visit Bedok Secondary as part of the mentorship program. Whoa, now I'm really interested. Then I continue reading because the first or second paragraph must be a summary of the important details. 34 and a half students accompanied by 2 teachers took part in the robotics competition, which was held at Nanyang Technological University on 6th of August, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of detail must be there within the first two paragraphs. Okay. And then after that, you retell that whatever happened. And then what you do is you have a dialogue. You have this fake live interview. You have fake live interview. It makes it sound as if somebody has actually you're actually interviewing somebody and say that it was really eye-opening or whatever it is, one of my fellow students. And then you need to have full name, okay? Full name. And then after that, you can also interview the teacher or the trainer. And then again, full name, Mrs. Tan Ali, comma, HOD of Maths, full stop. Do you understand? Don't just say Mrs. Tan. Who is Mrs. Tan? Is that James' mother or something whom nobody knows? There are so many Mrs. Tan. Okay. So that's the article. So you find that once you look at this, you say, oh, I know how to do this. It's not that difficult. It's just like that. Article it just looks like that. But if you have never done this before and then you're confronted by this during the exam, then you scratch your head because you are supposed to read, right? They've told you many times before to read the newspapers, right? So you say, oh, you have no excuse for not knowing how, but I didn't write it before. Okay, but at least now you know. Headline, byline, centralize. Everything else goes to the left. Within the first two paragraphs, give the important details. That's the summary. And then as you write, interview one or two persons whose names must be written down in full, their position should be written in full, end off on a positive note. End off on a positive note, no negative remarks. Why no negative remarks? Because you're writing for your school newsletter. Let's say you interviewed some naughty boy. Oh, it was a waste of time. I didn't learn a single thing. You put it down in your school newsletter, the teacher in charge will censor it anyway. So it never gets printed. Am I right? So you never see this kind of things happening in your school newsletter. So there's no way that it will appear. So what you can do is you can say that while it was exhausting, we found it to be truly meaningful when we reach the top of Henderson Wave or whatever it is. Okay? Can understand? Can? Okay. Done with this. Okay.
Mr. Sim, I've attached the document that you're sharing now, this SW formats, I've attached it in the chat. So students, you can download it, okay? We'll
Yeah.
also upload it on Telegram and via the Luma events. We'll share it with you later, okay?
Yeah. What about this one? You want to send this to them at the same time
Let
also?
me see. This
Yeah.
one is okay.
The
Yeah,
student copy.
show on screen, that one, right?
Yeah, sure. The one show on screen. So you send to them also. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank
Okay,
you.
so that's the all that has to do with formats. Okay, so no longer be frightened with the by the formats anymore. Okay, so in terms of tone and language, use some of these more persuasive tones. I can't wait to show you. You'll absolutely love. If it happens to be informal, you can use contractions. But because you're talking to your friend, your cousin, but if it's formal, then you won't have contractions, okay? What about essay writing? Okay, essay writing. So for example, I think the number one mistake which many students make is that they don't plan.
Mm.
And if you don't plan, then you're in trouble. Okay. So what happens? Many students, they end up using the introduction to plan. Have you done this before? I'm sure you have.
Mm.
So you use your introduction to just get started, and then inspiration has arrived. I know what I want to write, and then you really start writing. Okay, so to avoid this kind of thing, so which is fine because I know that some people can plan using mind map. Some people can plan very systematically, but some of us plan by writing. Okay, so what you need to do once your inspiration has arrived, your eureka moment has arrived, the light bulb has started to shine inside your head, then what you do is you cancel. Okay, so make sure you cancel that first paragraph, which you know is of low quality. Don't hand it up. If it's of low quality, your second paragraph is really good stuff, that that first impression which you created actually drags down your entire essay. Do you understand? So whatever you hand up must be polished, it must be impressive. You don't want to hand up that kind of fuzzy thinking. Teenagers waste a lot of time. Is it true that teenagers waste time? Some people think that teenagers waste time. Other people think that teenagers don't waste time. In this essay, I will write about whether teenagers waste time. That was a total waste of time. Nobody knows what your entire essay is about. Your introduction is to present an overview. That is to say, your introduction is actually a summary. And how can I summarize when I haven't even thought out what to write in paragraph 3 and paragraph 4? That's why I say you need to plan. If you don't plan, you cannot provide an overview. You can't provide an overview, you can't write an intro, which is why your intro is not going anywhere. Do you understand? But if you plan, then you have the ideas, then you can write. Okay. So 5-minute planning method. So let's say if you have this question, then you need to have a position and then you write a reason. Okay, first reason, second reason, third reason, and then you have a counter argument. First reason, second reason, third reason, counter argument. Okay. And so your timing breakdown. So you must plan because if you don't plan, you end up wasting time. Don't say, but Mr. Sim, planning is a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. Your planning is very important. Your planning is very important. Okay. So, something like this, it's very weak. It's not going anywhere. You just say, I agree with this, or I strongly agree with it. But where's the hook? So your hook, you want it to use something like this, brought to in today's digital age, and then you go in. So broad ideas, digital age, wow, the whole world, and then after you go into the specific. Rhetorical question, are teenagers truly wasting time, or are adults misunderstanding how teenagers behave? Adolescent development. Or surprising statement. You can say, while critics claim that young people squander hours daily, research suggests otherwise. So again, these are the kinds of sentence structures which, if you already know how to do, you will get the marks. If you don't know how to write like this, never mind, you just write the sentences which you are fully capable of writing. Okay? What about the background? So you need to set up what's the issue, what's the different types of viewpoints, and then you need to have a very clear thesis. I strongly agree, I strongly disagree with this, or this essay argues that blah, blah, blah. So a strong introduction would look like this. So in Singapore's fast-paced society, teenagers face unprecedented, they've never faced this before, academic and social pressures that previous generations never experienced. Critics often claim young people waste excessive time. However, I strongly disagree. I said, I know your stand. I can see the whole issue. I can see what you're going to be talking about for the rest of the essay. Even if I don't read the rest of the essay, I already know what the essay is going to be about. And that is a good introduction. And that's how examiners judge you based on first impressions. You go if you haven't met somebody before and it's the first time you meet somebody, you just judge a book by its cover. You always judge a book by its cover. That is why you have the idiom that says don't judge a book by its cover, because we always do that. We always judge by first impressions. Do you understand? So your first impression, your introduction, it provides an overview, no grammatical errors, good sentence structures, everything is clearly delineated. The examiner says, oh, this is going to be a band 5 essay. And then now I'm going to look for proof that it is true. I'm going to look for proof that it's a band 5 essay. Okay. Now your paragraph structure, you know that it is peeled. You put your topic sentence at the front, you explain, you give an example, and then you make a link, you make a connection. So this particular example here is really weak because it's repetitive. There's no development. So the development, meaning the explanation and the example. Uh, it's not difficult to do that. Let me show you a simple way of doing it. And I think some of you already know how to do it, but let me share with you. Okay, so let's say you are writing the personal recount. Okay, we're talking about essay choices. So personal recount is the easiest. Okay, so if you write the personal recount, it's the easiest because you only need to think about a few things. For example, you think about a time I felt uh, embarrassed. Okay, and what's the setting? Okay, so is it school or is it home or is it park? Okay, so let's say it's in school. Okay, what was the problem? Okay, problem was that I fell asleep. Okay, what was the climax? The teacher woke me up. Okay, what's the consequence of that? Uh, the class. Um, okay, so I said, okay, so this is planning. This is planning. Your planning is I need to have all these components. Okay, so you begin planning like that, and you're thinking about all the different aspects of it. What's the setting? What was the cause of it? And then what happened? And then what happened? So you don't write a 6 paragraph story. You only write a 3 paragraph story. 70 words here for the problem, 70 words here for the consequence, and then after that, what happened? That's all. Because you need to have 3 paragraphs for reflection or 2 paragraphs. I write 3 in the hope that you write 2. If I say write 1 paragraph for reflection, you give me only 1 line, right? So just a very short story. So just a very short story. And so what kind of story that you need to do? Well, you can use any of these techniques. These are techniques which you already know. It's not that you don't know these techniques. Internal monologue, dialogue, sensory details, emotional response, setting and description, or action sequence. So for example, let's say if this is the beginning of the story, I say, okay, so what am I going to write about next? Well, let's talk about the sensory details. Okay, so what are the sensory details? What can I actually describe? So I can describe, uh, let it go and do its thing. Don't worry about the actual words. What you want to see is that these are all of these things here. These are things which you already know. These are all the cards that you have. These are the techniques and the tools which you have been taught all the way from primary school, and you can reuse some of them, right? So for example, your sensory details. So something like that. So that's not a problem. And the first paragraph, second paragraph is already 117 words. So you don't really need to write very much. You just need to make sure that whatever you write is properly written. The spelling is correct, the grammar is correct, and you must check. I have many students who finish writing and say, oh, I finished writing early, 20 minutes. Then what do? Sleep. Oh, no. You are expected to finish writing early, and then you are expected to check. Okay, you are expected to check. But let's say if you say, but Mr. Sim, I want to write let's say I want to write an essay. I don't want to write personal recounts. I want to write essays. Okay, then you write an essay. What kind of essay you want to write? Social media is a waste of time. Do you agree? Okay. So something like this. Okay, so you need to have 3 or 4 ideas. Again, you need to have planning. If you don't have planning, you can't do it. So you can, let's say echo chamber. Okay, misinformation. Uh, uh, stranger danger. Uh, waste of time. Okay, so once I have these 4 ideas, then I say, okay, I have the idea, but I need to transform these ideas into sentences, into claims. But this is something which you already know how to do. If you're writing expository and if you're writing argumentative essays, you need to make a choice. Okay. So let's say I deal with the first one, which is echo chamber. So okay, I want to write my echo chamber, my first sentence. So what should I say after writing the introduction? What should I say? So, well, maybe I would use I would give an example, or maybe I can do compare and contrast, or should I start off with personal anecdote? Well, why not talk about a definition? Because you say echo chamber, and maybe not everybody knows, or since I know, let me show the examiner what I know. Okay, I will use a definition in order to expand on this idea of the echo chamber. So this is the echo chamber, a digital space where our own beliefs are merely reinforced by similar opinions. Okay, after I've done that, then what else do I do? How else do I elaborate? Well, let's use cause and effect. You don't need the app because you don't have the app during the exam. But I want you to see this app you install inside your head. Do you understand? You get this idea that actually I can do all these things. And then you say, oh, in my writing, I can do all these things. Because after that, I can do other things. I can use a metaphor. I can use a dramatic short sentence. I can ask a rhetorical question. I can use an allusion. I can talk about implications. I can use antithesis. I can use paradox. So again, these are the things which if you already have in your toolbox, you can use. If you don't have in your toolbox, I just show you one. I mean, your rhetorical question, you already know, right? No problem with that. A short impact statement. Okay, so remember we ended off here, right? Okay, so let's write off. How about we use a paradox? Can we use a paradox instead? Okay, let's enhance this using a paradox. Ultimately, it's a profound paradox that in an age of unprecedented access to information, the echo chamber effect often leads to narrower rather than broader understanding of the world. Paradox. Like that. Okay. And then after that, once you're done with this, then you go to the next core idea, and then the next core idea, and then after a counter argument, that's your essay. So this is the kind of thinking process that you actually need to go through. You need to plan, you need to have an overview. And when you are writing the essay, it's not just about dumping words onto the paper. It's what you have, what's your plan, what's your architecture of whatever it is that you want to say. You must have an idea about what you want to say. And then you have certain techniques that you can use in order to illustrate, in order to get your points across. And then it becomes a good essay. Okay. So for those of you who attended the boot camp, right? 4 sessions, we have already done that. No problems, right? Okay. So the counter argument, make sure that your counter argument is not about scolding people. Your counter argument the technical term, the rebuttal is just to show that hey, there are some problems or there's another point of view. Okay, that's all. It's not to say that I am right and you are wrong, and therefore that's why I strongly believe it's not about pushing the other person down. It's not about neither is it about inventing a straw man, a weak argument, and then criticizing it. You know what I mean? So, top five types of language errors. Okay, I have there are quite a number of different types of language errors. I need to show this to you. Uh, okay, so we have our grammar essentials. We have our grammar essentials. Mavis, how many have we shared with them so far? Three or four, I think.
Yeah, around there because we had several webinars running, so we shared those materials as well. So if you join our Telegram channel, everybody, then you will see these being uploaded, okay? Almost every week. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
You,
show them.
you,
Mm.
yeah. So each of this. So for example, let's say a will or would. This is a very common. This is actually a very common error. Uh, if you would study harder, you will get better marks. So if you study harder, you will. Okay. So technology would continue to advance. I see this error all the time. It's technology will continue. Okay, so it's a real situation, so it's will. The wheel of imagination, not real, then you say would. Okay, so if you hit water, it boils. If I study, I will pass. Not I would pass. Okay. So this is a major error. And so we have prepared all of this. So join our Telegram channels and Mavis is sending this out to you, and then you can uh, improve. Okay, so this
Mm.
is important for you. We don't have time, like I said, we don't have time to squeeze in uh, 4 years worth of English language education into 1.5 hours, but we have prepared materials for you. So if you take it and look at it and study it, it will help you. It will help you. Um, but this is the very condensed version. The very condensed version, the top five errors which the Cambridge examiners have pointed out is number one, subject verb agreement. Okay, teenagers wastes time. So the second most common type of error is actually sentence fragments, where they just
Mm.
put a full stop like that. And I see this not only here, I also see this in comprehension answers. And that's terrible. All the incomplete sentences popping up in comprehension answers. You cannot write like that. You cannot write like, because he was angry like that. Because he was angry, then what? Oh, I also have students who write to go there like that, full stop. Cannot. I also have students who write something like this, as it is ready, full stop. Cannot. All these are sentence fragments. Cannot answer like that. Okay, but these are things which we'll talk about next week, because next week we have
Oh,
our
not next
not
week, Sunday.
next week as in Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. Okay, next week. Isn't Sunday the first day of the week?
Oh, okay lah.
Yes, I was
Interesting.
right. Okay, so Sunday night, which is the first day of the week, we have our paper two segment. So join me there, and I'll go more into these problems with your comprehension answers. Okay. The third problem I have is something like this. I study hard, comma, I still fail. Oh, very terrible. So, but I still fail, or full stop, and then however, very common error. Okay. Or things like teenagers use phones, they ignore homework, they fail. Don't write like that. Teenagers who use phones excessively may ignore homework, comma, leading to poor exam performance. Also, there's a difference. Okay. You also have pronoun confusion. This is very common. Me and my friend, very common. Okay. Between you and me, not between you and I. Okay. Thanks consistency. I was walking to school when I see my friend, we talk, and he tells me, so, oh, so I was walking to school when I saw my friend, we talk, and he told me. Okay. So, uh, weak conclusions. In conclusion, I conclude, I have, this is my opinion. Thank you. So don't write like this. This is actual students writing. Don't repeat. Okay. So don't say in conclusion, I conclude. Uh, and don't say also, and this is very, very common. Don't say personally, in my opinion, I believe that. So why do you need to have personally? In my opinion, I believe that. No, that not even personally in my opinion. Do you understand? So one, two, and three. Choose one. Choose one. Don't have personally in my opinion, I believe that. Okay. You know who you are. Okay, so you are actually prepared. You have trained for this for the past 4 years, but some of you are now starting to feel a bit panicky. Don't worry, we have another trick up our sleeves, which is the other thing that we have prepared for you. Where's my other thing? Oh, here it is. We have this, our essay primers.
Mm.
So some of you say, okay, so I want to do some quick study for my essay. So we have actually prepared this. So let's say family and relationships. Okay. So the topic is family and relationships, but there are actually different ways in which the questions can be asked. It might be asked as an expository question. What makes a strong family relationship? Oh, you write expository essay. It might be asked as an argumentative essay question. Traditional family values are becoming less important. Discuss. It might be asked as a descriptive. Describe a family tradition that is important to you and explain why it mattered. It might be asked as a personal recount. Write about a time when a family member or friend taught you an important life lesson. Oh, it's actually the same topic, but the question can come out in different ways. So what you need to do is you need to know the facts. Okay, so you need to read through this to know the basic facts. Single parent homes, blended families, long distance relationships. The father is working in Dubai, the mother is working in Singapore, right? Okay. Cultural conflicts, digital interference, or maybe it's digital enabling because you have Zoom, and that's why the family can still meet together even though they are separated physically. Relationship strengths and values, emotional support, shared experiences, life guidance. So as you read through this, you realize actually there are many different aspects that you can write about. Okay, and we have also provided for you the linking sentences, things like while modern families face new challenges, the fundamental need for connection and belonging remains unchanged. Wow, that's a good link, right? Or the changing definition of family, while controversial, demonstrates that love and commitment transcend traditional structures. Yes. So these are the good linking sentences that you can place at the end of your paragraphs. But what about the P? If this is the L, what is the P? Oh, all the P's are here. Okay, so you can have this list of P's down here. And then you want to use current examples. Current examples will get you more marks because they're more impressive. Okay? So some sophisticated vocabulary that you might want to use: kinship, bonding, compatibility, unconditional support, family dynamics, empathy, loyalty, filial piety, family hierarchy, collective decision making, ancestral honor, personal boundaries, balance, respect, and independence. So you can see that they are actually things that you can study. And if you know these things beforehand, when you write your essay, suddenly, wow, your essay has all this rich vocabulary, good sentence structures, and your marks are going to jump for sure. Do you understand? And we have many of this. We have education and learning, sports and health, work and career, travel and culture, and all of these are based on our analysis of past year O-level topics.
Hmm.
Okay.
I'll be uploading them in in the next few days. So do keep a lookout. So far we have uploaded until Essay Primer 4. Like I
Okay.
upload two every time. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are I think they are eagerly looking forward
Hmm.
to it or something.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the resources which we are making available to you free of charge because we want you to succeed. Okay. I have 9 more minutes. Ask questions. What is the burning question that is on your mind for paper one? The paper two questions we leave until Sunday night, okay? Okay, so paper one, what are your burning questions?
How to have enough time to write and plan everything.
Uh, Ideally, you should have written 4 essays per year every year. I say ideally because I know that some schools only let you write 1 essay and then the teacher didn't mark and return it to you 2 months later, and so that was terrible. So if you haven't had enough practice, it's difficult. Okay, so but if you're a mind stretcher student, we give essay and situational writing practices every month, and they are marked and returned to you. So you should have had enough practice. Okay.
Um,
Uh, Difference between descriptive and argumentative. The difference is that in a descriptive essay, you describe the situation, and ideally, what you do is so it's like painting. So you describe a scene at home. So you describe the mom is cooking, the father is carrying on a meeting on Zoom, and then you describe. And as you describe, you attach memories, you attach your evaluation, your feelings, your emotions. And one way to organize it is to use a timeline. So I see this, and then I move on to the next section. So there's a descriptive. Argumentative has to do with logic. If you cannot think of what you want to write for the essay, then don't write the expository. Just write the personal recount. Okay, Aris? How do you make your narrative or descriptive essay stand out? What you do is you use reflective paragraphs because most students write their narrative as if it's a primary six compo. But if you use reflective sentence structures, such as the hypothetical or the definition or the comparison between your past self and your present self, then your essays, your narrative essays will stand out from the rest because most students don't do that. Okay. Uh, Tips for descriptive writing, arrange it according to time. So although it's descriptive writing, you can still arrange it according to time. So for example, if you say, describe a place. Oh, then what you do is, as I step into that place, this is what I see. Then I go there and then I see this and it reminds me of that. Okay. So use time as a string to organize your different paragraphs, the different descriptions. I don't like writing personal recount. It's your choice and plan to do argumentative only. should I still practice writing the personal recount? It has to do with what kind of marks you have been getting. Okay, Likiang. So if you have been getting, uh, so you have to compare your expository or your argumentative versus your personal recount marks. So which of these types of essays have you been getting higher marks in? Then for your exam, you choose the one where you get more marks. So you don't choose based on whether you like or dislike because it's an exam. So since it's an exam, you choose based on what you can get higher marks in. Doesn't make sense? Makes sense, right? Then you choose the question where you can get the most marks in. Okay. What if my brain frees up? Oh, that's like saying, what should I do if the striker dribbles past me and scores a goal? It's too late. The score a goal already. What you expect me to do? So what you should do as a goalkeeper is take a deep breath, walk to the back of the net, pick up the ball and pass the ball to the front, and then say, okay, let's restart and let's do it one sentence at a time, and let's write it one paragraph at a time. Okay, so the most important thing to do is to end it. So even if it's a short essay, it's better than an incomplete essay. So examiners penalize incomplete essays much more than they penalize short essays. Do you know what I mean? So if you, let's say if you actually wanted to write 6 paragraphs, okay, and then you wrote in very great detail for 3 paragraphs, and then you say, oh, I've run out of time, now I have to hand up. Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. So let's say if you have written 3 paragraphs which are very long, then what you do is you have 5 more minutes, write a conclusion. Even if it's a short conclusion, at least finish it off, and then there's a proper ending. And that will help you in terms of your marks. Don't leave things dangling. Okay? Don't leave things dangling. Tips for discursive writing is it's the same. You just need to take a look at the essay primers, memorize the sentence structures, look at how the nuanced sentences for the links are written and put those things in, because most students don't know how to write proper links. So I've written many proper links for you. Okay, so most students don't know how to write proper links. All they do is they just say, therefore, I agree to a limited extent that blah, blah, blah. And then the next paragraph, they say, therefore, I agree to a limited extent that blah, blah, blah. Don't write that. That's oh. Well, look at those, the proper links, and then you will see what I mean when I talk about nuance statements where you have sentence structures that balance different points of view. Sentence structures which actually you are familiar with because you learn them all the way back in primary 4. They come from synthesis and transformation. Okay, so despite the temptation of blah blah blah, then many teenagers are able to blah blah blah. So it's this kind of sentence structures which you learn in synthesis and transformation, which you are expected to have learned how to write in your essay writing. I don't know whether your school teachers actually told you that. If you were part of our mind stretcher thing, you would have been exposed to that. Okay. Would I recommend exposition or argumentative essay to write for O levels? I just came across a very interesting post on Reddit today. There is actually a JC2 student. The JC2 student he posted today, and he said that uh, he has no confidence for the A level general paper, and so somebody else asked him, then how did you manage to get into a junior college, right? And he said, oh, I just memorized personal and narrative recounts, and so I managed to get good marks for the O levels. Ah, so that means that He doesn't know how to write an essay. He doesn't know how to write expository. He doesn't know how to write argumentative. He's facing great difficulties for the general paper at the A levels. But because he memorized personal recounts, because he could write narratives, he did well enough to get into a junior college. Hint, hint. Do you know what I'm telling you? So, for how to prepare for argumentative essays, download our essay primers, read through it, study the pointers, and then you will know what to do. For argumentative essays, do you need to take a stand? Yes. Uh, is it practice and exposure? Yes. At this point in time, will you encourage us to do full length compo or just plan them? At this point in time, we at this point in time we haven't started the exam yet, so we still have time. Okay. How do you identify? You don't need to identify. All you need to do is to answer the question. You don't need to worry and classify. Is it discursive? Is it expository? Is it? Don't care about that. That is for the examiners to worry about. So the examiners need to know that they are giving you a variety of questions. That's why the examiners must classify the questions. But as a student, you just look at the range of questions, then you ask yourself, which of these questions am I most confident in? Not what I'm most excited at writing about, but which of these am I most confident in answering? Then you answer. Okay, so don't worry about the classification, just answer the question. What should I study the day before for paper one? Essay primers and grammar errors. The these things which we are sending to you. For discursive or argumentative, is it okay if all examples are anecdotes? No, it's not. Too weak. Cannot. You end up sounding like Donald Trump, no good, not persuasive, not convincing. You say, there was this man who came up to me. He was the bestest man I've ever met. And he said, Mr. President, you're the best president ever. And I say to him, yes, thank you very much. And he uses this as a kind of, come on, no, no, not convincing, okay? How to practice for argumentative essays. Read through the essay primers. You need to sit down and study. Okay. Do I have to use a real sources? If you okay, so in the past, right, without the internet, some students might have gotten away with things. But now all the examiners have handphones with them when they are marking. So if you just make up some fake fact, they just check and they say that doesn't sound right, and they check, and then it's fake. That's it. You'll be penalized. Do you understand? So you can't afford to make up your own fake facts anymore. What's the best place to keep up with news? CNN.com, channelnewsasia.com. You won't have enough time to finish. Time management is something which you need to do. You need, because when you go out to work, you also need to manage your time. But it's no longer in terms of what do I do within this 1 hour, 50 minutes? It's what do I do within this day? Within these 8 hours, how do I manage my time? And then again, it becomes within this week, how do I manage my time? So this is an important skill you need to practice. What should be in the conclusion to make it stand out? Use a good technique like quote, an isocolon, a paradox, a dramatic short sentence, uh, anaphora, rule of three. Okay. What are the skills for explanation? Cause and effect, compare and contrast, claim and description, a sequence of events, definition. For argumentative essays, do you encourage more transitions or just a minimum of two? Okay, so instead of just saying firstly, secondly, thirdly, you can say moreover, furthermore, in addition. Okay. What makes an excellent A1 narrative descriptive essay? Look at the uh, marking rubrics. The marking rubrics will tell you that you need to have good sentence structures. You need to have good vocab. You need to have covered all aspects well. Will they check and penalize us if the data is fake? Yes. Two paragraphs of reflection? Yes. Based on confidence for essay picking? Yes. What are the skills of explanation in argumentative writing? Okay, we already done that. How do we make the fake facts seem real? Oh no, too bad I don't teach you how to lie. Okay. Yeah, you can't fake statistics for evidence. You don't need the figures absolutely for writing evidence. So if you don't know, like, okay, 72% of all the people living in Yishun are blah blah blah. So you say most of the people living in Yishun. Okay. And if it's a general enough statement, if it's true, that will be acceptable. Okay. Where can I find these skills like compare and contrast?
This,
Some of the essay primers will have them. And some of them, maybe it's a bit too late for you at this point in time. But never mind, just do your best. Okay. Discursive format is PEEL, right? How do you write the evidence? So the evidence becomes part the PEEL. So point, explanation, and then the example. That is becomes the evidence. Either explanation or example is the evidence. What types of examples can you use? You can use compare and contrast. You can use examples from your knowledge of current events, the facts, so the things which you already know. Okay. Teacher Mavis,
yeah,
final words of advice for the students.
you have mentioned everything with planning, and but a lot of students are still saying like types of examples you use. Where can I find compare? Actually, I've been doing that for 4 years and all these like how to explain. And your teachers have marked your work, right? And you have taken a look and done your corrections. So you should know what ideas work and what don't work already. And if your explanations have been unclear, your teacher would have told you as well, right? That you should be logical. So if you ask, what's logical? Then you tell me the why, and then the effect, and then the impact, and then the so what. So actually you know already. There is no need to now start to realize that maybe there is something I don't know. I believe you know. And the essay primers we're going to share, we're going to supercharge the share with all of you in the next few days and read them, the format and so on. Okay. So don't worry and start to pull your hair now. Now you should calm down, and look at all the materials we are going to share with you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and study and
Study.
study. Okay, I'll see you on Sunday.
Yes. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Sim, for sharing with us.
Okay,
We'll share
thank
all
you,
the
everybody.
materials with you. Thank you, Sweaty, for
Yeah.
supporting
Okay,
us,
so
and we'll see
join
all of you.
our Telegram
Mm,
channel because
mm.
that's our primary mode which we send these materials to you. You can share it with your classmates and don't be selfish. Share good things must share. Okay, so let your classmates know about it. Okay, bye bye.
Okay. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Bye bye. See you on Sunday.